Hey, what's up, sixth grade students? Welcome back. Let's start our new chapter about cells and life. But before that, let me take a quick selfie. Okay, before we go over all the assignments that I expect you guys to do this week, I want to go ahead and do part of a presentation over this chapter so I can explain a couple things to you before I send you off to do all the work. So without further ado, here is the first part of this chapter's presentation. Let's start this chapter off by taking a look at what a cell is. A cell is the basic unit of structure and function of all living things. What that means is cells carry out life functions, and one or more cells make up the structures of all living things. Cells were first seen, or you could say discovered, in 1665 by a gentleman named Robert Hooke. He was looking at a slice of cork through a microscope. On your screen, you can see what he saw. He saw this pattern and it reminded him of cells, so he named them cells. In 1838 and 1839, it was learned that all plants and animals were made up of cells, and in 1855, the cell theory was created. So that took almost 200 years from the first discovery of a cell to it scientifically becoming a theory. Now, the cell theory states that all living things are composed of cells. Cells are the basic unit of structure and function in living things, and all cells are produced from other cells. So, all living things are made out of one cell or many cells. Cells are the basic unit of structure and function. That means they build and make things work that are alive. And that third thing means that cells make copies of themselves to continue and grow. There are two different types of cells we're going to talk about this chapter, the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. A prokaryotic cell is a cell with no nucleus or membrane that surrounds and protects the genetic material, also known as DNA. And the eukaryotic cells, which have their genetic material surrounded by a membrane. Plants, animals, fungi, protists, they are all made out of eukaryotic cells. So, I don't want to jump ahead to next week's lesson, but just remember, cells are tiny living organisms. That means you are made up of almost 40 trillion living things. 40 trillion cells. Every cell carries that specific organism's genetic code, also known as DNA. Yes, that means every single cell that makes up your toenails all the way to your brain cells hold your genetic code, your DNA in it. Prokaryotic cells do not have a protection for their DNA. It just kind of floats around inside of the cell. And eukaryotic cell keeps their genetic material trapped in a nuclear membrane, also known as the nucleus. Now, on your screen, you see the avian flu virus or the bird flu. Viruses are not cells, but they need living cells to survive. If a virus enters an organism, it will attack a living cell of that organism and it will insert its own genetic code inside of that cell. So the cell theory states that all cells come from pre-existing cells, and the genetic code inside of that cell is the blueprint for making new cells. So if a virus releases and replaces the genetic code of a living cell with its own virus's genetic material or genetic code, that cell, instead of making new cells that it wanted to make, will start reproducing and making new viruses. Those new viruses will detach themselves from the host cell, break free, and those new viruses will do the same to other cells inside of that organism. This process will happen over and over and over again. And that is why it's very important to stop the spread of these viruses by washing your hands often and covering your mouth when you sneeze or cough. All right, let's not talk about that. Let's go back to the idea that you are responsible for about 40 trillion individual living things. Yeah, seriously. How's that for responsibility? I mean, you have to take care of 40 trillion living things on a daily basis. Have you ever heard of you are what you eat? Well, the macromolecules that makes up your cells and that your cells eat might sound familiar. Cells eat and are made out of proteins, which make up all the different pieces and parts of the cell called organelles. They also use protein to perform life functions and doing things. Cells also take in macromolecules or eat macromolecules called lipids, known as fats. These store energy for later, as well as insulate and protect the cell. They also take in macromolecules called carbohydrates. This gives cells immediate energy, and it can store some of that energy for short times. These three things, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, should sound familiar. If you take those three macromolecules and you add in nucleic acid, which is what genetic material is made out of, you have the ingredients of what makes a cell. And it makes sense that if we are made out of cells, that the same materials that they're made out of, we're made out of. So the materials that they need to survive are the same materials we need to survive. All right, enough about these macromolecules and foods and what they're used for. There's an Edpuzzle you're going to be seeing this week that will go over all of that. So let's talk about all of the things that you have to do this week, the 5 assignments for this week. And they are: assignment number 1 this week, this introduction video that you're watching right now. So I don't need to really talk about this. You're watching it right now. When you're done with this video, you're going to go on to assignment number 2, which is chapter 2, lesson 1 notes. Everyone has their own copy, just like the last couple weeks. You are going to pull up your own Google document and replace the blank lines with your answer. Please do not just click on there and type in the answer. And the first one is: blank enables us to see the tiny basic units of all living things. Well, that would be a microscope. So if I just type the word microscope inside of it, it moves everything. I don't like that. So I'm instead going to double click the line, and now I'm going to type in microscope, and it makes it look like a complete sentence. It doesn't mess up the formatting. Again, please double click the lines and type over top of them instead of in the middle of them. All right. So after you finish your notes, you will do another Edpuzzle. This is the Edpuzzle I talked about during the presentation. It's all about biomolecules, or macromolecules. That's just another name for it. So when you go to the Edpuzzle, you're going to watch it and it's going to ask you questions. Remember, if you get to a question like this one, what are the 4 major biomolecules of all life? If you don't know the answer to this, you can go back and rewatch it.
There are 4 major biomolecules that make up all of life, and this will be the focus of this video.
Notice that the video went over the answer to the question. If you don't know an answer, please rewatch it and get the answer right. This is going to grade it and let you know how you did. There's no excuse not to get a very good grade on this. So after you finish the Edpuzzle, you are going to go on to assignment number 4, which is Legends of Learning. Again, go to login.legendsoflearning.com, select Play Now. Look for the teacher playlist option. When it asks you for the code is Mr. J 2020, MRJ 2020. Log in with your Google account. Once you're there, you'll see a lesson titled Cells Lesson 1. Pretty simple. When you get to the game this week, the first game is this little robot guy. You're going to walk around looking for these 6 specimens down here that I found. You'll go talk to all of these different scientists, learn a little bit about the cell theory, a little bit more detail than what I mentioned in the earlier video, and you'll go in and you will complete this game as well as another one, and you will answer some questions. Remember, to get full credit for Legends of Learning, you have to do the activities and the questions afterwards. Okay, so once you have the notes done, the Edpuzzles done, and Legends of Learning done, you're going to take another quiz. The quiz looks like every other quiz. I'm going to ask you to do your best on it. Use your notes to help you. That's what they're there for. Once you're done with the quiz, submit it. You're done for the week. If the quiz was not a passing grade, I will ask you to redo it so that you can get a passing grade and get that marked in progress book that way. All right. We have another week to do. We're getting closer to summer break. I hope you guys are staying safe. I really miss talking to you guys and teaching you guys in person. I can't wait to see you again. Stay safe, go outside, enjoy the weather, and good luck this week. Bye. What's up, 6th grade students? Welcome back to the next chapter all about cells. So let me take a selfie.